Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me right now is Chris Dobbin. He's the president and CEO of Nova Leap Health. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is NLH on the TSX Venture. And Nova Leap Health will be presenting at our upcoming investor conference, Planet MicroCap Showcase Vegas, in partnership with MicroCap Club, taking place April 22 through 24, 2025. For more information, to see their presentation, to meet with Chris in a one-on-one, please register to attend at planetmicrocapshowcase.com. And with that, Chris, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks again for having me. I'm going to
Abs-
show up to your event, provided you give me one of those hats.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we got gear coming for sure. So, well, Chris, thanks again for dropping in and for we're going to be doing an update. We've done a number of interviews over the years, but
Mm.
for those that don't know the Nova Leap story, like we always do, can you give us that quick overview of the company?
Yeah, sure. So Nova Leap Health Corp traded on the TSX Venture Exchange in Canada. We're head office in Canada. We operate in the in-home care space, providing primarily non-medical home care to seniors within our homes. And I'd say about 80% of our business is in the US and the remaining 20% in Canada.
Beautiful. All right, let's get that update. Last time we did an interview together, we published that September 2024. So let's get some highlights from the last, what, 6 months, 5, 6 months?
Yeah, I think so. Since we last spoke, I mean, our business has been pretty consistent. So we're a profitable, cash flow positive business. At the end of 2024, we hadn't had any debt whatsoever. So from a financial perspective, we were really good shape. We did take on made two acquisitions since we spoke. One was I think mid-December. We entered in the state of Florida, which we currently or previously had not had any any acquisitions in or any exposure to, but we've been looking at for several years. And then we brought in a couple of agencies within Nova Scotia to beef up our presence here within the province. So really two acquisitions that we've made since we last spoke. I did put out a CEO letter to shareholders, which I think would be pretty informative to folks that have sort of that may have an interest in our story that have followed us along for several years. I've tried to provide a bit of color in terms of how we've been performing and things that we're looking at. But we're back on the acquisition trail again, having just made two acquisitions. Looking at other things. I expect we'll have more, later this year. We are opening an office location in the Midwest, and so that's where we have our operations within Kentucky and Ohio areas. And so I think come May we should have a new startup location there. So really just investing in our current operations and beefing those up, continuing to make acquisitions and continuing to be the boring business that we've been over the last few years.
Love it. I love how you ended that, man. I mean, another question that I've asked a number of Canadian companies leading up to our event this year. We have to address the elephant in the room with tariffs and border crossing. I don't think it necessarily affects you guys directly because you're more on the services side, but for those that might ask you in Vegas, or maybe we can answer it now, how's all this affecting your business, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, tariffs don't have an impact on us directly in terms of we don't
Right.
have goods that are crossing the border, and so there's
Right.
none of the not like an automobile company where you have parts and stuff that could be tariffed sort of multiple times, I suppose, going back and forth. But and tariffs themselves, you look at it from a U.S. perspective, is meant to drive investment within that economy. Nova Leap has been a regular investor into the U.S. economy over the last, really since 2016. We've made, I don't know, probably upwards of 15 investments, acquisitions there. So we're a regular contributor to the U.S. economy as it is. The U.S. dollar will probably continue to be impacted. So there's been a higher U.S. dollar relative to Canada, so Canadian being the weaker dollar. That can be good for us as a company because we're producing cash flow in the U.S. and so we have again a U.S. dollar provides us with more ammunition, particularly if we're looking at making acquisitions in Canada, which we just did, and it tends to have a sort of from an accounting perspective at least a large gain on our financial statements. So a few impacts like that, but tariff specific no. Foreign exchange yes, but mostly from an accounting perspective, or if we wanted to take cash flow, to invest in Canada as an example.
Very good. All right. Another thing I want to talk about, deal flow frequency. We talk about that, I think, almost every single time we,
Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty
we come
common
on.
question that I get.
I mean, look, that's kind of the core of the growth trajectory of the business, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
you said at the top in the update, you did two at the end of the year. What is, moving forward from what you can tell us, one, just the main kind of value catalyst altogether for 2025, but how is also the deal flow frequency kind of looking now as, you nailed two down, what's in the pipe?
Yeah, look, I mean, deal flow for us is always pretty consistent. Like we always have opportunities that are on the go. It's always been that way. I don't think it'll ever change. I've spoken about that, quite a bit in the past, only because you think about we're buying businesses that have been around for 10 or 15 years. And so what that means is that it's generally a succession plan, which means that the owner or owners of the business are typically getting up there in age. And so they're getting to the age of retirement, right? And so if you think about the demographics and the aging population and the baby boomers, it's just more and more of these businesses in our industry and other industries that'll continue to be for sale. So deal flow is pretty consistent. For us, it's like turning the tap on and off. How aggressive do we want to be going to market in terms of trying to get more deal flow in, or just being happy with kind of what we're already looking at? And that's how we viewed it in the past. We want to turn a tap on, we'll go out, we'll be a little bit more aggressive making calls. And if we already have kind of lots of things that we're looking at that we think are good, then we'll kind of pause some of the outreach that, maybe we would normally do. So, we're looking at things. We've been a bit of a serial acquirer over the years, continue to make acquisitions. But, in terms of catalyst, I think, one of the things that's been a challenge for us, coming out of COVID, right? There was sort of this pre-COVID where we're doing really, really well. There's COVID where we get hammered, and then we kind of fixed the business, and now we're back in acquisition mode. But the biggest challenge we've had has been from the revenue side of things in terms of pure organic growth, right? Not necessarily growth from acquisitions, but the pure organic side of things. And I think part of that had to do with we probably underinvested in certain locations coming out of COVID. And so we are making investments into the business. And there's sort of this immediate expense that happens when you go out and you hire more people, but the longer term nature of that is that should drive greater hours of service in our business, which is leads to more revenue and more profitability. So I think between acquisitions we'll continue to make, opening a new office in the Midwest as an example, but also supporting by investing in current locations. I think those are the things that'll help us as a company.
Very good. All right. Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Did we miss anything from the last 6 months and then moving forward, or that
I
you
think
want
that's
folks to
it.
know going in? Yeah, we got it.
I
Cool.
think we got it.
All right. Well, with that, Chris, where can our audience go and find more information on Nova Leap?
I think novaleaphealth.com. And again, for those that are new to the story that want to learn a little bit more about us, I would look at the shareholder letters that I send out on an annual basis. I think that's probably the best summary I can give in terms of where we are, where we've been, and what we're hoping to achieve.
Very cool. All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe, and I'll see you in Vegas.
See you in a month.
See you.